Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'd like to welcome you to Kerrville Working Together to Overcome. Today, Gil Salinas, Executive Director of Economic Development Corporation, and myself, Theresa Metcalf, will be joined by Leslie Jones from the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau. We will be discussing business workforce recovery, and Leslie Jones will be covering the travel and tourism portion of what it looks like to be moving forward into more of a recovery phase of COVID-19. So today I would like to begin by talking to you on a higher level view of what we will be discussing, and that is this phase of kind of resetting and what it looks like to begin to open and create a more resilient community and economy. So I think most of us are aware by now that the economy and business operations won't suddenly be able to flip a switch and just get back to normal. And we can see as businesses are reopening, things look quite a bit different. And although there are still quite a bit of unknowns, we can work towards future-proofing our community. And whether we call this time period a time to pivot or pause or reset, it does highlight the need for all of us to develop some type of resiliency. And when I talk about resiliency, or I think about resiliency, I think about these 3 points of resiliency from an economic standpoint. And that's kind of what I would like to focus on as far as a KDC aspect. And so when I talk about resiliency, I think about that through a lens of business owners and entrepreneurs in new business, and on an individual basis through skills development, and on a community level through supply chain and job creation. And in that supply chain and job creation, Gil will be going much more in depth. So we all know that, I think most of us are aware of the fact that mindset really does determine our outcome. And some of the best adaptations we have seen throughout this is that there isn't really a right or a wrong way of doing things, just what works best for your business or your employees, and very specifically your particular situation. And what definitely will not, however, work is a frame of mind that what has always worked in the past will continue to work moving forward. And Leslie will definitely be going into more depth on details of this, about some thinking out of the box ideas and wonderful collaborative efforts, not only within our community, but what she's seeing on a larger scale, throughout the travel and tourism industry. But I've had the benefit of being able to interview on the Over the Fence podcast multiple business owners that are living out that example, and in particular Patrick and Carrie Wilt at Grape Juice. And so the new way of doing things, or out of that box thinking, that's definitely the mindset that people are going to have to foster moving forward. So as our community and economy resets, business owners and entrepreneurs will have that opportunity to dust off old ideas to fit this new market and its needs. And entrepreneurs will have the opportunity to fill new market needs that were not there before. And in that, and as we talk about resources that are available, I see some of the silver lining here is that there's just an overwhelming wealth of resource and guidance that hasn't necessarily been there before, and it's literally at your fingertips. You don't have to go anywhere to get it anymore. It's online, it's available, and it's your local resources that have always been there, but have maybe been a little bit challenged to get that to you in a format. So available through SCORE and SBDA online. But early on, I had the opportunity to be on LinkedIn and be able to be a participant in a live broadcast with Mark Cuban. So, you know, people that we wouldn't normally have access to are giving us information, and that stuff is there. It, you know, it's kind of archived forever on those platforms. And so just really amazing and wonderful information that is now available to people that wasn't necessarily there before. And if you still are the type of person that really appreciates and needs that in-person kind of information and resource availability, you know, SCORE and SBDA are there for you. And these offices have part-time hours in the Chamber of Commerce here in Kerrville. And I'm sure if you're listening outside of this area, they do have offices in your area as well. Kerrville Chamber of Commerce will be open again on Monday, so please feel free to reach out to them and contact them about those resources and those offices within the chamber. So some industries and companies will rehire furloughed employees, and unfortunately some will not. And this means individuals will have to figure out how to transfer their existing skills or reskill into a new career. I think it's really important that individuals look to this shift as an opportunity to explore a career path that they wouldn't otherwise have had an opportunity to look into, or even maybe be aware of, and so begin to develop new skills that provide them with that resiliency. And so developing a new skill set and broadening that resume or that opportunity into you know, a different high demand job opportunities. And so for companies that are able to bring back employees or have kept employees on, it will be increasingly more important to invest in them, as during this time period, they more than likely will have had been asked to do more, and the need for advances in technology, implementing, you know, in across the board, any industry that has continued to operate, there will be advances that have been put in place, whether, you know, it's technology or it's in need to accommodate customers coming in the door. And so continuing to invest in your employees is going to become essential. And excuse me, we have all seen how businesses have had to adapt, and most of the businesses that have been successful in doing so have been because of the owners and the employees are able to think outside of the box and are looking for new ways of doing things. And this is all part, again, of that upskilling and that training. So again, there are multiple local resources for upskilling and reskilling available. Those are listed on kerrvilletogether.com. And we also have a wonderful resource here locally through the Alamo Workforce offices. And, you know, they're available online as well. They've been putting together some wonderful webinars and, online tutorials. And so those will be listed, those resources will be listed at the end of the webinar, where you'll be able to access all of that online and reach out to those individuals. So that ends my portion of the webinar. I would like to introduce to everybody Gil Salinas, the Executive Director of Kerr Economic Development.